What's going on, everybody? This is Finish the Race podcast, and today we're joined by Oliver Anthony. He's going to be singing his song right now. Now, what's going on, Connor?
What's happening, Isaac?
Have people mistaken you for him yet?
No, but a lot of people call me like Conor McGregor. Like every day at work, it's Conor McGregor.
Okay, who started that?
It just depends. Like everybody, it doesn't really matter really who started it. Everyone just kind of started joking about it.
Fair enough. All right, we're going to get started with the cookie jar, as we always do. So if you want to, throw that out. Go ahead and take the lid off. Get you a cookie. Maybe it'll be good. It should be. Oh, you got a twofer.
Oops.
What we got?
Ever go on a date with a friend? How was it?
Hey.
Well, I did go on a date with a friend one time, and it was very interesting. It was like that was actually my first ever date, really.
Hey.
It was I was like 14 at the time, and they were having a vacation Bible school at one of the local churches, and I went with my sister and my cousin just to go hang out with them. And anyways, we ended up sitting at this table and talking to some friends of my cousin, and me and this one girl just kind of clicked, and it went on for a little while, but eventually about a month or two later, she just kind of cut me off. I was like,
Yeah.
Okay, that's all right. I didn't really expect a whole lot out of it, but that was like my first ever date, so it was...
What about recently? Have you taken a friend out recently?
No.
Somebody you want to be more than a friend with?
No. I ain't got many friends right now.
Hey, it's all good, man. It's all good. I took a friend out a few weeks ago, and this was kind of like a situation where we had like joked about it before, like maybe we should try it, but I just never went for it, and so I finally did, and I was just like, well, let's run its course, and nothing bad about it. You just wanted to be with them,
Yeah.
But it was cool. It was a fun time. I'm gonna read the other one you accidentally pulled out.
All right.
Man, these things are hard to work. Who or what has inspired you lately?
Ooh.
There we go. Hold on, are you still in the frame?
Just sit back just a little bit. There you go.
There you go.
All right. It's definitely hard to answer because I see so many things on a daily that just kind of inspire me, but mainly probably I've been reading a little bit of like quotes from Marcus Aurelius, and just stoicism as a whole just seems, it's definitely something to aspire to become so, like, I don't want to say nonchalant, but unaffected, like just stalwart, just heading forward no matter what comes your way. It's something definitely to look up to.
That's something. I'm glad we're talking about the Roman Empire.
Is this question of how often do you think about the Roman Empire?
That's weird how that came up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I just figure, I don't know. Andrew, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? Not at all. Okay. Well, you should look into it. The Stoicism is something I found really interesting because when I first heard about it, it was just through somebody posting a screenshot of like one of the pages, and I was reading into it, and I was like, wow, this must have been written like 50 years ago or something. It's a lot longer ago than that. But that's a wise man.
Oh yeah,
incredibly wise.
it it's definitely interesting. Like just hearing the quotes and not knowing who it is,
Yeah.
and then when you find out it's Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, it's and you read about what he did in his life. He's quite a rough character,
Yeah.
but it just seems that those the people that live long in professions that don't live long, they end up the most wise.
Hmm. That's interesting. Do you have another example of that?
Not ooh Miyamoto Musashi,
What is
the
that? Who is
greatest.
that?
I believe that's his name. The greatest Japanese swordsman of all time. He wrote something very similar. It was like a code of honor for the samurai,
Okay.
and I don't remember the book. I want to get the book. I need to look it up, but I believe he was undefeated. I believe he killed. It may be in the hundreds, but I believe he's killed at least 40 samurai in straight up duel. No, nothing else. He became a
Dang.
Ronin. I believe he became a Ronin uh, later in his life due to dueling his master and winning, if I remember
Wow.
correctly.
How long ago was he around?
I believe it was the 14th century or the 15th century.
Okay.
So, quite a while ago, definitely in that samurai period before the imperial takeover.
Okay. So you talked about stoicism as kind of becoming immovable or calm among the storm sort of thing. Do you feel like you want to adapt to that mindset and get something like that? Or do you feel
Yes.
like you're already there?
I don't feel like I'm already there because there's a lot of things that still affect me like very greatly, but I would very much like to one day become something like that where I don't just react purely on immediate instinct or emotion, that I calmly and reasonably assess the situation and move forward.
Mm. That's just wisdom in a nutshell, really, big time. But that's got to come through experience. So what kind of experiences have you gone through? We'll start with childhood that that you went through and then took in, and you don't necessarily dwell on, but you still utilize what you learned from it to better yourself now.
Well, there was a point in my childhood where I I was struggling with Christianity as a whole.
Okay.
Like I was raised in a Christian family, and my parents, they did their very best to take me to church and to show me how everything's done and what I should be in life. And I just struggled with it on like as a whole, because it's not that I didn't believe that there was a God. Like I kind of knew from my whole life that I knew there was one, but some doubts tended to creep into my mind every once in a while, and I ended up becoming moderately depressed. I didn't have any friends. I was like 14 years old. Hadn't had any friends. I didn't go to public or private school. I was homeschooled. And most I would see my cousins to hang out because they were like my only friends would be maybe once a month, once every 3 months, just depends. So I ended up getting pretty depressed to a point of no return.
Okay.
And just from overcoming that experience by like uh, should I go deeper and just
You go where
explain
you
the
want
whole
to go,
story?
man.
All right. Well, I was about 16. I had been going through that on and off for the next few years, and I got to a point where in my mind I had convinced myself that nobody loved me and nobody would know that I'm gone and that everyone's life would be easier. And in a in a in an unthinkable, just off the wall, like random day, I was like, enough is enough. Then I went and I had a 12 gauge shotgun in my room that I used to hunt with and for home defense, and I took it. I don't even remember if it was loaded, but I sat there and I put my lips around the end of the shotgun barrel, and my finger was just in the trigger guard, about ready to pull it. And I sat there and I thought, like, what am I doing?
Mm.
What am I doing? Like, I sat there and I just started crying, man. I was like, what is wrong with me? I got to a point, I was so fed up with everything, and I didn't know why. I was like, why didn't I pull the trigger? Why did I get to that point, and why didn't I go through with it? And I looked over to my desk that I have in my room, and there was a King James Reference Bible over there. And I sat there and I looked at it, and I just had this strange feeling to read it. And I stuck my finger in no particular place. And I ended up in, I believe it was Matthew chapter 5. And as a lot of people know that read the Bible, the Sermon on the Mount.
Mm-hmm.
And I just took about 10 or 15 minutes to read through. And then I stuck my finger in another portion, and I went to, I believe it was the Psalms, and I eventually found a psalm that said, "Take out my heart of stone, O Lord, and replace it with a heart of flesh."
Mm.
And I remember just being so hit by that verse that I asked myself again, I'm like, what am I doing? I know there's a God. Like, I know there is. Why am I doing this? I know my family cares about me, even though I don't feel it. And that just started my turnaround. It wasn't immediate.
Right.
Like, nothing, like, immediately changed, but I'd never tried to end myself ever again. I turned that part around, and I just began studying. I started working out. I started losing weight, and it was definitely a rough time. But I come to a point about 3 or 4 months later where I started thinking, I'm like, okay, I know there's a God. I don't know which God.
Right.
I believe it's the Christian God, because I've been told all my life. I was like, but let me check.
Right.
I need to make sure. And lo and behold, my first thought process was, all right, let's see which one is the right one. It's like, I know it's not probably any of these polytheistic gods. It could be, and I'll research them at a later date. And I was like, let's think about the theistic gods, because the universe coming into existence needed a singular entity that was powerful, outside of time, outside of space, and personal and loving. So I was like, okay, let's look at the theistic gods. And one by one, I knocked down Judaism, and then I knocked down Islam, and I went back to Christianity and researched all the historical documents there, and there was just too much for me not to believe in the Christian God. So that kind of ended my, like stuck in a rut, just depressed feeling. I'm like, I know, I know, I, know, I, know, I, know 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 I, limiting myself anymore.
So do you think, because you said when you were like in that moment of, almost pulling the trigger, and then saying, "Why am I doing this?" But then you were like, did you ever come to was the answer to that just knocking out the confusion that was in your mind? Do you think that's what it was?
That was, I would say that was the major part of it.
What else do you think led to it?
I got this in my mind because I was homeschooled. I didn't have any friends that, younger kids are supposed to have a bunch of friends. And I was the weird kid because I'd grown up homeschooled. The only school I got was private school in kindergarten, and then I was pulled out for homeschool.
Okay.
And looking back now, it definitely benefited me, but in the moment, I just couldn't understand why. And every time I went to go hang out with other kids, like at church or, well, mainly just church or family gatherings, I was always the weird one because I didn't understand like how to be social,
Yeah.
and I was just the way I was.
Yeah.
And another thing, church almost pushed me into it. Like some people at church, they. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people know this, but church people can be some of the most ruthless people.
Yeah.
Like,
very judgmental.
yeah,
Sometimes.
very judgmental.
Yeah.
But there are still a lot of good people in church, and
Mm-hmm.
I try not to be too harsh towards them.
Generalize them.
Yeah, generalize them and group them in with other people. But I was a part of a youth group, and I was about 15. This was like the first time in a few years that we had been back to church, and I don't know. I just like we went there for about a year. It was in Seven Lakes, and a lot of the teenagers in the youth group. There wasn't a lot of them, but they just would never talk to me, no matter how much I tried to be their friend. And I wasn't being overtly weird, so I still didn't know how to be social.
Yeah.
But I'd been ingrained, by my dad how a person should act, how they should act in public, and I'm like, these people are so immature. Like even for a 15-year-old, I sat there. I was like, these people are so immature. What's the deal? They act like they're 11.
Yeah.
And
They was just acting like some teenagers.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know at the time. So I'd not had much experience with other people. So
what would be your advice for somebody that's homeschooled, like going into the world and being social and making friends and stuff?
my advice, I suppose, would be don't overthink it. Like it doesn't matter if people think you're weird or anything. You will find somebody that gets you. That's what friends are, like best friends.
Yeah.
They're not somebody that's exactly like you. You just find somebody that's just as weird as you. It's like
Okay.
they're not. They don't have to be on the same wavelength. They don't have to act super mature or super immature. It's just different people, and that's kind of what I like about friends is everyone's different.
Yeah. But it's like just the connections that you can form with just a diverse group of people, and you look at, and it's weird though, you can't really combine a lot of your friend group.
Yeah.
But that's also a benefit of it, because if you had to do that, that'd be, I don't know, it'd just be so chaotic.
It would be. It would be. It'd probably feel less valuable, like with that friend group, because it would be all condensed. You'd have like 10 or 15 people.
Yeah.
Or I don't know how many people, how many friends you have, or how many friend groups, but it just wouldn't feel as personal. And I mean, it might, but to me, it wouldn't seem as enjoyable.
So what do you think? I mean, that's a huge, like a suicide or suicidal thoughts. How long was that going on until you laid on the bed and actually was like, all right, let's do it. Let's get it done. Like, was it ongoing? for
This
years.
the suicidal thoughts came and left, but I never really did anything about them until that point. It the thoughts kind of lasted like I would have them every couple of days or every week or something like that. But in whole, it lasted from probably 13 to 16 and a half. And I mean, that was about the extent of it until I sat there and just changed my mind.
Yeah. Did you ever talk to anybody about it?
I did, and they were looking back, they were a friend. I mean, they were actually a family member, but they were more of a friend to me in that moment. And I had to swear them to secrecy. I was like, you cannot tell anybody about this.
Mm-hmm.
This is between me and you. And they had done their utmost best to help me, but in the end, the decision still lied with me.
Yeah.
As nobody was going to change my mind. And I had even questioned at some points, like, why am I venting to this person? Like, why am I sharing this with them? And it later occurred to me, it was just like, I had been in so long of a search for a friend that I just had to tell somebody.
Yeah.
I just had to. And it made me feel better momentarily. And then just a little bit later, I would go back to it.
What do you think do you think that was just like a built-on stigma that had been placed in you by your parents? Or what do you think it is? Because, I mean, that's a lot that goes on in the minds of men. Like, girls got, for the ones I know, and making a generalized statement, they got no problems. Like, this is how I'm feeling, you gonna hear it, and then that's it. Like, they get it out. But for men, we're like, I can't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Nobody will know that I'm suffering. Why do you think that is?
I think part of it is nature. In a way, I believe part of it is nature. But I believe it's also from the nurturing of figures in your life, like
Okay.
how they act. Like my dad, I'd never seen my dad cry. Uh, he was always the one with the answers.
Mm-hmm.
And when I would come to him and he wouldn't have an answer for something, I would be terrified.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I had briefly, like, subtly, like, asked him. I don't remember exactly how I worded the question, but I had asked him if he had ever felt lonely or something when he was younger, like if he had had some sort of depressive state, and he did in a way, but it was nowhere close to what I felt I was going through. So
Yeah.
I was very concerned. I was like, and I knew, like from some people, like a lot of the church doesn't like believe in depression and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I couldn't go to anybody about that. Like they're just like, you don't have enough faith. You're not praying hard enough.
Yeah.
And I literally sat there and I'm thinking about it now. Like thinking back on it, I was like, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like,
Something else is going on.
I'm like, I feel this. This is a problem.
Right.
I want a solution.
No, I get that. That was kind of a lot of like my experience with it. Because my dad being a preacher, I had asked him, once in a blue moon, just be like, do other people feel like this? Is this normal? And, he's at kind of the forefront of holding relationships with a lot of the church members because they would just go to him. And he was like, you wouldn't believe the amount of depression, like, within the church, within Christianity. And a lot of it is that to where they say, okay, well, you don't have enough faith. I don't believe in that. You know, God says the faith of a mustard seed can move a
Can move
mountain.
mountains. Yeah.
So if I got a little bit, I got plenty. I got to the point where I was like, I got to talk to somebody that they don't know me, and they can. I tell them what's on my mind, tell them what's going on, and they can tell me exactly not what I need to do, but give me suggestions without uh, maybe damaging my view of them, which I think is the biggest problem of, not a problem, but a setback of going to somebody that's been in your life for a long time about those kind of things.
Yep.
So I went to him and I told him what was going on. I was like, look, I told him what's going on. And the answer is just like, oh, we'll just talk to God. We'll just do this. And I'm like, I'm all for God. I've been going to him, but I've been getting, a little tick in my heart or something. It's like I need to talk to a person.
Yeah.
And he was like, yo, absolutely. And he was like, I went through this. That was when I went to therapy for a while. But I think that was very beneficial to talk to somebody like that. But do you think therapy would benefit a lot of people? Have you gone?
I've never been to therapy.
Do you think you would be opposed to it, or do you think you would do it?
I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I suppose with my current mindset, like I have a very practical and realistic view of the world now. A few years ago, I probably would have been completely open to it.
Mm-hmm.
But just the way I view society and like the people in my life and stuff like that, I don't think I would be. I'd probably be too. Would the word be pragmatic? No. I suppose I would be a little skeptical.
Why is that?
Like hearing people lie to you for your benefit a lot. You kind of sit there, and I've made myself like adopt a habit. Like when somebody's trying to tell me something, I stop, I listen, I examine it, and I'll be like, what is this person trying to get me to do with this? Why are they wanting me to believe what they're saying
Okay.
versus what I'm saying? And I know this is very like
Sound paranoid.
yeah, exactly, exactly. I probably am to a weird extent.
Yeah.
But it is kind of funny, and I don't do it like all the time, but like something very
Yeah, you
serious,
do.
like especially.
Be honest. Yeah, you do.
I mean, not all the time.
All right.
Well, like serious stuff, like at work, or like when you're watching the news, somebody's telling you something
Yeah.
that they believe you should believe, and I'm like, why do you want me to believe what you believe?
Okay.
And I just feel that I would probably be the same way in therapy. Just because it's a new experience, and I'm always skeptical and cautious.
I get that. I mean, I question a lot too. I've tried to get better about it, but dude, I got some trust issues, you know? Like you said, when somebody's lied to your face, people that you held in such high esteem and people that you form relationships with, and you find out it was a lie, it's like, I don't want to bring it up to them. I'm just like, all right, I get you.
Yep, I see how it is.
Yeah. And then the problem is, though, I start painting their face over everybody else's face.
Mm.
You know? And you're like, all right, I guess I just can't trust anybody.
Can't trust anyone.
And that's a dangerous spot to be in, you know? But that's something to work on, you know?
Yeah, I really need. I got a lot of things to work on. But
What's something you've worked on recently that you think you accomplished, like a sustainable kind of, I guess, lifestyle from it, to where you're like, I got over this, it's in the past now? What do you got like that? Or do you have some, you still working on everything?
I'm kind of still working on everything. Nothing really crazy like springs to mind. The main goal for me moving forward is health, actually losing more weight and getting in shape again.
Okay. Did you end up joining the jiu-jitsu place?
No, I didn't, unfortunately. And go on, don't do that.
Why not?
Just didn't have time.
Yeah.
And I know I need to make time for things, but between work and side jobs, it's just really tough. Especially like if somebody in your life, I'm not gonna say who, but finds out you have an extra second that you can spare. Hey, can you go do this for
Yeah.
me? I need your help with this. And it's not saying anything bad about them. I'm not. I love doing stuff for them. But sometimes I would like some time to do what I want to do.
Yeah. I mean, you still do some calisthenics and stuff.
Yeah.
Some push-up.
Yeah, I do push-ups and sit-ups and squats and lunges and stuff at the house.
I mean, you're also getting a workout in at the job you do.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Very shoulder-oriented.
Yeah. You're going to feel it, too. I still feel it.
Yeah.
Been working the kinks out, though. How old are you?
I'm 20 years old.
Oh, you made it out of the teens? Congratulations. What'd you think of the teenage years? Fun? Rough?
I've honestly, it was actually rough because I didn't really live like a teenager. I was more. I'd almost forced myself to become more mature,
Mm-hmm.
and now that I'm like later into 19, like almost to 20, I was like, I need to have some fun with my life.
Yeah.
Like
You did.
I'm so serious all the time. I never drink, never smoke, never. I didn't really have friends to hang out with, so I didn't do stupid stuff all the time. But just hearing some of my parents' stories talk about all the stupid things they've done, and then they, you know, I don't know. They still have an expectation for you, and I sit here and I think, I'm like, why can't I do some fun stuff? I just want to do a few things.
I
I'm
mean,
not
you can
doing
do
anything-
what you want. You just
Yeah.
got to deal with consequences.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm not doing anything crazy, but I'd like
Right.
to have an enjoyable time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you ain't got to smoke and drink to have a fun time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I look back sometimes and think, like, why couldn't I be more of a dumbass? You know? So I'm trying to take advantage of that now.
Yeah.
And really going for it.
I feel that.
Antra, how do you feel about, do you think it's more beneficial to be dumb and, just doing crazy things when you're young and then eventually learning from it? Or do you think grow up as quick as you can? What do you think is more beneficial?
You should experience life. Life changes constantly. It just depends on, again, a person's mindset, what their priorities are at that time in their life. But nah, just live, experience life, try stuff. It's not dumb until it doesn't work, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And you don't know what works until you try something. So that's not mine. I got that from Gary Vee.
Gary Vee.
Experience is always going to be the best teacher.
Facts.
Yeah. Put yourself out there. That's what you gotta do. I'm trying to do. I've been doing that more since I went back to school, and it's exciting because I hadn't acted like that since I was in elementary school. Like elementary school, I'd go up to anybody because you just have no idea. You don't know that things can hurt you. You know, so you just go out. What's up, man? You want to be my friend? Let's be friends. And you go do fun stuff together. And it's just monkey bars, racing, and now it's just I don't know, going out and just building courage, and which I hate calling it courage too, to go up to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, courage to me is like, I'm all right. You're doing something that's sacrificial, and joining the army or something. You're going on the front lines. You're like, the courage is all right. I got to run to this building and make it there alive, or I may or may not make it there alive, but I got to get there. I don't know what to call it outside of courage.
Yeah, I mean, it's still the same thing. Overcoming some fear that you have, no matter what the fear is,
Yeah,
you still push forward with it. You still
yeah.
go.
Not to live in fear. So I've been working on that. I'm excited. You know, I got a date Monday, which is it's something to look forward to. You know.
I,
But yeah, what's a fear that you live under the umbrella of?
it kind of goes back and forth of me fearing it and also not fearing it. I suppose it would be disappointment, like disappointing the people I love.
In
For
what way?
people. Like just with the way things are now, like with how like with jobs and stuff. Like you want to get a good job that pays well, and that's kind of why I'm stuck where I am for the time being. I don't particularly. I, I want a future there. I do want a future there, and the future there will pay well, but there's also a lot of other factors that I hope I can deal with. That's why I'm trying to push myself forward, and keep going, to overcome my fear of disappointing people by not making it.
Why do you feel like you would disappoint them?
I feel like we're not a. It sounds demeaning and disrespectful to actual poor families, but we kind of live paycheck to paycheck. Like we don't really have much money for else, and the opportunity at getting a very high paying job would be extremely beneficial for the family, and just not making it and having to settle for less
Hmm.
or having to start all over again with something else with no guarantee of making it. That's kind of the fear. Like we're not a poor family, but we are still living paycheck to paycheck. We don't have any money for anything else.
Do you see yourself like taking care of your family?
I would hope so.
Yeah. When I was in Wilmington for school, I thought, or before I went to Wilmington, I thought I had to go there because if I didn't, then I would disappoint my parents. But I didn't know why. I didn't know why um, college was the only way to make them proud. That's what I thought. I'd seen my sister do it, and she excelled at it, and she was great, and they were proud of her, and I could see that. And I was like, I want that. And I don't know. It ended up. I mean, I went back now, but the reason I went back now wasn't for them solely. Like the intention before was like, I don't care what I'm doing here. I'm just gonna do it, just so they'll pat me on the back or something. But now it's like I want to go back because I want to make something out of it. Like you're saying, like I want to stay here to make something out of it, to actually gain something from it. And I don't, I don't know. I think it's a very noble thing to do. Um, but I don't know. It's hard. That's a hard thing to like put a pin on and be like, do you know? Do you live just to not disappoint? Do you live just to get approval? I don't know, man. It's the
It,
complications of life.
it is. It's like there's so many more layers and so many different
Yeah,
like like other reasons for doing something, but just one that sticks out, and like the mindset thinking that they will be disappointed because you're not doing something,
yeah,
or or doubting yourself and being like I can't do this, like I'm not good enough, and that's going to disappoint myself.
yeah. Because that kind of goes back to your original problem of nobody loves me.
Mm,
Whereas, like, if you love somebody, you love them just for
regardless.
them, not because they got some job, not because they boss can buy you this, not because they do certain things for other people. Is whatever it is, you love them for because you love them. Um, Deeper than the flesh, you know. Um, which I think I like to look at it as back to the suicidal stuff is whenever you're trying to kill the flesh, the soul will yell out. It's like, hey, don't forget about me in here.
Yeah.
You know?
That's definitely a factor. Like I'd sat there and I went to do it, and just some unknown voice like, in my mind was just like, "Hey, wait up a minute, stop this!"
Ooh.
And I'd question myself,
Yeah.
why didn't I do it? And there was something that stopped me.
Yeah.
Whether it was myself or some. Well, I'm a Christian, so I believe it could be an outside force.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows?
So, what would you say to people? Maybe not that have. Well, I guess they do have suicidal thoughts, and at any point, whether they just started, whether they're trying to find that 12 gauge. What would you tell them? How do you get past those thoughts?
Just a desire for something else. To know if there is a reason. I don't have much advice I could say, because I really don't know how I got out of it. But I would say, man, your life is you are more valuable than anything in this world. Every human being is more valuable than they think.
Yeah.
When you have those thoughts, you believe that you are worthless.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I had convinced myself. And for me, I don't know if this is the same way for other people. It's probably might be, but for me, there was no convincing me.
Yeah.
I had to convince myself. I had to come to a point of realization, and it was almost too late for a point of realization. But my advice would be, keep your chin up. Just keep going, friend. There's too much to live for. There's too many people that love you. Even when you think that nobody loves you, somebody does love you.
Yeah.
And that may not be the entire reason you're having those thoughts, but there's always someone out there who will care for you. Always someone.
Do you think that's why do you think it's hard for people to feel love? Like when somebody genuinely loves them, but for some reason, because both of us have gone through this, and I don't know what it is, but it's like you said, it's my mind convincing me that the love I'm getting isn't love.
It's real.
Yeah, it's fabricated.
Yep.
But I don't know why.
I don't know why either. What I believe was one of the things that started it, which could be the reason why I didn't feel loved, was I had basically, I felt like I was only receiving, I suppose, hatred or distaste for me being around, and I had just blocked that stuff off for so much that I just started blocking everything. Like I didn't feel angry, I didn't feel sad, I didn't feel happy. Like I just completely shut off everything. And that, I believe, was just a decision, like a subconscious decision not to feel anything.
Yeah.
And it would just keep, like, when things would start getting rough, it would just build up. And then, like a fit of rage, just one little, the straw that broke the camel's back, one thing. And I would sit there and I'd be like, why don't I feel anything until the boiling point?
Yeah.
Like, why And I really can't think of an answer.
Yeah.
It's just so like buried in your subconscious. It could be a defense mechanism of the brain. Like these emotions are affecting you and your thought process, and it tries to block them off, or something. It could be much deeper than that, more than just physical or biological.
It's strange now too with the like pill epidemic or uh, pharmaceutical drug epidemic, whatever you want to call it. The amount of people that search for that numbness, they don't want to feel. And as somebody that got out of that place, I'm like, I don't know why y'all are chasing that, because you're gonna be very disappointed. Because it's not like, I don't know. That's what the suicidal thought is, giving you a solution that says, if you act on me, you won't feel anything. But then you get to that point where you're like, all right, let's try it out, and you realize you didn't want to. I don't know. It's not that you didn't want to feel anything. It's that, I don't know, maybe you wanted to feel everything, but anytime you felt a little bit of it, it just scared you. I don't even know if that makes sense. I don't, like you said, I don't know how to make sense of it. That's why we're doing the Finish the Race podcast, because we just got to make sure we make it to the finish line.
Yeah, gotta talk about it.
Yeah.
Gotta keep going.
It's so weird. Like the pill thing is just like, it's really sad to me, because I had a friend that was like very affected by it, just overprescribed and turned him into a zombie. He was like, I didn't feel anything for 2 years, and that hurts me, because knowing what that's like, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. You know, I might wish you stub your toe and break your collarbone or something, but to feel nothing, that's a bad curse to be with.
It's just bad business all around.
Yeah, it is. A lot of people hurting. When's the last time you had a hug? I'm not gonna hug you. We're men. We don't touch each other, dude.
That's
Not true.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
We gotta get
That's a joke. That's a joke, people.
No.
You know how I can't stop from making a joke intro. I love a good hug. They're important. We will hug after this. All three of us are going to hug after this podcast. When's the last time you had a hug?
other than like like you go to a family gathering and have like a goodbye hug, like you
That's a
pat someone
hug.
on the back.
That's a hug.
I guess that would be
Yeah.
it.
I had some hugs today I was very thankful for. It makes you feel good, you know?
Nice.
It's like, because all it is just both of y'all telling each other through a physical act. It's like, hey, I'm here with you. We're all in this together, you know? Pretty cool. All right, how about you pick one more cookie jar out? And we'll see if we can give the audience what they wanted to hear.
How much money would it take for you to be to be on a trash TV show?
Ooh. How much?
I don't know.
Let's say you film for 3 months out of the year, and it airs on. What channel puts out the worst TV shows? I got no clue.
Sorry.
Um,
I really don't know. Like, I don't know. A&E?
A&E, okay.
Yeah.
How much to be on a trash A&E show? 4 seasons.
4 seasons.
Yeah.
Holy God.
I guess bad ones get canceled at 2, so 2 seasons.
I guess it would take me a couple million.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang, dude. I was gonna say like 80 to 100K. Like, get my face out there, you know.
Yeah, get your face out there, but if it's a trash TV show, it might not be a good look.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So might need a little more compensation
Yeah,
for
might.
damaging your reputation.
That's true. All right, maybe a meal. Maybe I'll take $1 million.
Yeah.
That'd be worth it. All right, we're gonna shout out Zen, and we're gonna shout out Mountaineer Brand. We're gonna shout out Sense by Yaya. You can use my code EYESAC to get 10% off. No, 15% off at Mountaineer Brand, whatever you order. You got a baller beard, dude. You need to talk to Mountaineer Brand for real. Use some of this product and see if you like it. You get 10% off of Sense by Yaya. Get you a candle. Same code EYESAC. You get no discount on Zen. I just started using them and they're really cool. So go get you a Zen. Connor, this was awesome, dude. It was good to see you.
It was good to see you. It's been a while.
I know it. And it's a good thing we hadn't seen each other because I'm no longer working there, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, you made it out.
That helped cure some of my depression.
John made it.
He made it. All right, well, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you. I hope you continue to run the race, and I hope you finish it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for listening. Have a wonderful day. Bada bing.